billion-dollar industry once they graduate. All right, keep them up. Who here would want to work for an industry that's often in the news for their precedent-setting legal work? Good. Now, who wants to work in an industry whose products could potentially be responsible for 1 billion deaths in the 21st century? Nobody? Lost somebody. Okay. All right.
So, how many of you guys have ever seen one of these commercials? Yeah? Well, I'm willing to bet there's probably a few people in this classroom that really wish I wouldn't talk about this subject. But this morning I'll be talking about some of the basic issues with smoking cigarettes. I've been researching this topic for a little over a week now, and I've learned some things that I will be sure to never forget. I'm sure that there are some people in here that currently smoke cigarettes or know someone that smokes cigarettes. In fact, I smoked cigarettes regularly until I started researching this topic for my speech. That's cool. Today, I'll discuss why people smoke, what's actually in cigarette smoke, and why cigarettes are still being manufactured. While older people often have different reasons for smoking, the first thing that I would like you to know are the three main reasons why young people smoke. Young people smoke cigarettes for reasons such as the media, friends, and then consequently addiction. For so long, smoking has been glorified through movies, television, and magazines. Movies and TV glamorize smoking by showing beautiful actors and macho men puffing away, leading kids to believe that it's going to make them look tough or more attractive, just to name a few. As long ago as 1969, a tobacco executive agreed to avoid advertising directed to young people. Yet 10 years later, they supplied their products to be featured in the Muppet movie. Magazines do pretty much the same thing, with attempts to make young people think it's going to make them cool, happy, or popular. Tobacco companies purposely advertise in magazines with high youth readership, such as Sports Illustrated, People, and Rolling Stone. People also start smoking because their friends are doing it. One isn't going to kill you, or don't be a pussy. Yeah, I think we've all heard some of these. Peer pressure is such a lame thing, but let's be honest, it works. Some people just don't want to disappoint their friends or look scared. Next thing you know, it becomes a social thing, like smoking when you drink, go to clubs, or maybe just at the local coffee shop with some of your buds. But one cigarette will lead to another, and before you know it, your habit has become an addiction. Nicotine is an addictive drug that causes changes in the brain that make people want it more and more. When you smoke, nicotine reaches the brain in about 10 to 20 seconds, causing a chemical called dopamine to be released in the brain, which provides a feeling of pleasure, and smoking will start to serve as a source of positive reinforcement. After some time of smoking, the avoidance of withdrawal and negative reinforcement is what keeps most smokers loyal to one of the most deadly industries in the world. Do you guys know any other examples of why people start smoking? No?
Yeah.
What?
Like when you're at a party with other people, kind of get a break or go outside and start talking with other people. I typically see people smoke.
Yeah.
Or to go meet somebody.
And I was also thinking maybe their family, maybe they have family members that smoke, so they think it's okay to smoke. Anyways, now that you have an idea about why people smoke, I want to briefly list some of the interesting things that go into our bodies when lighting up that cigarette. Every day, about 1.3 billion people inhale chemicals that most of us wouldn't even think about putting near our mouths. I have a little quote here from Truth. So let's say you're stumbling out of the Kremlin on another secret mission from the KGB, and you happen upon a fallen comrade. No sign of foul play, no empty jug of vodka, just another dead Russian spy. Your spider sense tells you poison. Holy Sputnik, your spider sense is good, because in 2006, a former Russian spy was allegedly killed using a radioactive isotope called polonium-210. Any guess where you can find such a rare assassin every single day? Cigarettes. Then you have toluene. Toluene, one of the chemicals found in cigarette smoke, that is also a noxious component of both gasoline and dynamite. How many of you guys are into drinking gasoline or chewing on sticks of dynamite? Yeah, me either. Speaking of drinking something ridiculous, how many of you are down for like drinking your pee when you're thirsty? Oh, no one? Alright, well, your pee has something called urea in it, and urea is also found in cigarettes. I've clarified why people smoke and highlighted some of the outrageous, deadly chemicals that are in cigarettes. With the evidence we have today about how harmful cigarettes are for you, why on earth are they still being manufactured? Let me explain the simple reason why the multi-billion-dollar tobacco industry is responsible for 4.8 million deaths worldwide each year is still in business. John Gucci of the Associated Content reports that everyone is well aware of the health risks of smoking. Now the government is forced to notice and take action, but of course they don't want to lose any tax dollars. So to make it look like they're doing something proactive, they have slowly increased consumer taxes on cigarettes to try to decrease the number of smokers when it's really just taking more money out of their pockets. It's pretty simple. As long as cigarettes contain nicotine, people are going to stay addicted and keep buying them. This morning I talked about some of the reasons why people smoke, the harmful ingredients in cigarettes, and why the tobacco industry is still in business. As long as people stay addicted to cigarettes, this is a trend that's not going out of style anytime soon. So next time you light up that cigarette, you should think twice about becoming just another statistic.
No, don't stand up there. That's not necessary. It's just for doing it. We didn't check in. Jason, you're supposed to do the oral evaluation. Jason's not here? Yeah, he is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. What'd you think?
I like that he chose a topic that's very close to like our age group, and his sources seem like having the good numbers and stuff that we can hear to understand. And pictures, his visuals really help. Especially this last one is always very poignant. And I hear about this more than I actually see it. That someone's smoking through their throat, the hole in their mouth. It's easy to follow too. You kind of follow what he's going through as either he's coming up to it or he just gone over it.
All right. The video clip's okay as an attention device. The topic's very clearly identified. I think your thesis is a little broad. It needs to be focused more. There's a good preview of what the structure of the speech is. I didn't think you were citing your supporting material early on in the speech, but you got better on that in the later parts of the speech. Organizationally, it's structured. It's primarily topical in its structure. You had very good internal transition, so it was easy to follow. The visual materials, they developed some interest in the subject matter. They don't really add much to the understanding. I thought that there was a little bit more about how the smoking is glamorized and shown to be desirable in the early part of the speech. I thought that you connected that with the visuals to some degree, but after that it just seemed like it's wallpaper in the background. But they're interesting, and they sometimes remind us of the points that you're trying to make. The claim at the end that smoking continues to be allowed mainly because of the taxes that it generates just seems to me a lot of hooey, and I'm not sure exactly why that argument is even included in this presentation. I think you do a little bit more reading than you want to do, and you want to be careful about turning over the speech to the audience in the survey, because sometimes you lose control, sometimes the focus shifts, sometimes you're about something that wasn't really going to be what you were going to be focusing on, and I thought you had a little bit of that in the presentation too. All right, thank you.